I went into Hannie Caulder release 1971, and honestly, I wasn't expecting much. It looks like one of those old revenge westerns you've probably seen a dozen versions of by now. But this one surprised me. It's definitely rough around the edges, and some parts have not aged well at all. But when it sticks to its main story, it actually works better than I expected. Before I get into it, like and follow if you're into movie reviews, where we actually say what we think. So the movie is basically about Hannie Caulder, whose life is destroyed after three outlaw brothers murder her husband and brutally assault her. Instead of waiting for someone else to bring them to justice, she decides she's going to hunt them down herself. To do that, she teams up with a bounty hunter named Thomas Price, who reluctantly teaches her how to survive and shoot before sending her after the men who ruined her life. What makes this movie work for me isn't the revenge itself. We've all seen revenge stories before. The reason this one stands out is because it actually spends time showing Hannie earned that revenge. She doesn't wake up one morning as some unstoppable action hero. She struggles, she trains, she fails, and you can see every bit of progress. That makes the payoff feel deserved instead of feeling like the script is just handing her victory. The training scenes with Thomas Price are honestly my favorite part of the movie. At first, he keeps telling her revenge isn't going to fix anything, and he's probably right. But he also realizes she's never going to let it go. Instead of giving her a speech, he teaches her how to survive. Watching her practice over and over, learning how to judge distance, draw her gun, and stay calm under pressure makes her transformation believable. It's not flashy, but it's satisfying because you actually watch her become capable, instead of just being told she is. Raquel Welch also deserves a lot of credit here. She could have easily been remembered only as the attractive lead in a western, but she gives Hannie enough determination that you believe she'd actually chase these men across the desert. Culp is equally good as Thomas Price. He's not the loud mentor who constantly steals scenes. He's calm, experienced, and almost tired of violence, which makes him a perfect contrast to Hannie's anger. I also like the Clemens brothers more than I expected. They're terrible people from the very beginning, but the movie gives them this weird family dynamic where they're constantly arguing and insulting each other. They're almost funny until you remember how cruel they actually are. That contrast makes them more memorable than if they'd just been serious villains all the way through. Now, the biggest thing holding this movie back is something you really can't ignore. The assault scene early in the film is extremely uncomfortable, and it's supposed to be, but it also goes on much longer than it needs to. I understand it's there to justify Hannie's revenge, but the movie lingers on it in a way that feels more exploitative than necessary. That's probably the part that's aged the worst. And I can completely understand why some people would switch the movie off right there. The ending also feels a little too simple after all the build-up. The final showdown is solid, but I was expecting something with a little more emotional weight, considering everything Hannie had gone through. Instead, it wraps things up pretty quickly once the shooting starts. Real talk. This movie reminded me that revenge stories only work if you actually care about the person getting revenge. If Hannie wasn't convincing, this whole movie would have fallen apart. The gunfights are fine, the western setting is solid, but it's watching her slowly rebuild herself. That's actually interesting. That's the real story here, not just who gets shot at the end. This is also one of those movies that deserves credit for putting a woman at the center of a western without making her feel invincible. She has to earn every step, and that makes the movie feel more grounded than a lot of modern revenge films. So yeah, I'm giving Hannie Caulder a 7 out of 10. Not because it's a perfect western, and definitely not because every scene is aged well, but because underneath some outdated choices, there's a genuinely engaging revenge story with strong performances and a lead character you actually want to see succeed. That's my review. Have you seen Hannie Caulder, and do you think it still holds up today, or has time been a little too harsh on it? Let me know in the comments.